Well, I was born in Anniston, Alabama, but at the time my dancing skills started to surface, I was in Compton, California. I started at a very early age, around 5 years old, to show dance skills. My parents were dancers. My mom and my dad was my mentors for dancing. My dad was real smooth. He was a big, tall guy, and my mom was a little petite woman who always had everything perfect. They moved really good. My mom used to walk around the house singing Temptations and Supreme songs, and I got that showbiz feel from her, and a mixture of both of them. But it wasn't until later that I started to notice different styles. I loved Fred Astaire and Gene Kelly and the Nicholas Brothers and Bill Robinson, Bojangles, and they were always cool and smooth, and they did split. Then there was James Brown thing came along. He was the quickest, coolest guy on the planet. Then in my later years, I became a little monster of doing all these special little moves, going a little above and beyond what the other dancers would do. But then I met my real mentor, Mr. Don Campbell. He was the coolest dude on the planet. And he had a cool smile, and he came out with a new concept of dance style. Now, I saw him developing as time went on, and then I just realized that I had a lot of things that I already know how to do that would, fill up the time slot where he was a much bigger guy. He had stopped a little more when I had to put more things into it to make it more exciting, to keep me moving forward. And this is how my style connects from Don Campbell's style and the style from previous dances that I always was well accustomed to doing. Some of the funky styles that I see comes from boogalooing, different style, popping, like a G style, and just the, robot style, mannequin style, and various styles of hip hop, and breaking. In the breaking sense, I've seen that many of the dancers who do breaking always get into concentrating on a lot of moves because there's a lot of floor work. But there are some really good masters out there who consider the music and everything that they put together, and they maintain that outstanding stamina throughout their performance, even on the floor. Then the popping style, oh, I love it because it's just really a comfortable move. And when you got a guy that knows how to do the boogaloo style or the G style or the robot style really good, it stands out and it makes people stand up and take notice. And locking is one of those dances that you really have to take time and understand where it comes from, why you do what you do. It's just like you look at one of those movies about a superhero. Once the person who becomes a superhero, before his pre-existence as a superhero, he doesn't really know all of his skills. So he doesn't really appreciate why his body can do certain things. For example, like Superman, the first time someone shoots a gun at him and he doesn't realize that the bullets are gonna bounce off, he covers himself just like anyone else because he thinks that he's gonna die. But once he realizes that the bullets will bounce off, he's a different brother then. Well, in dancing, what we want to remember, mixing dance styles is cool. But what we must remember that our dancing is supposed to be enjoyed. And you're also supposed to think of people, if you have dancing as a high esteem thing and it's something that you really enjoy, you want to make sure that people that are watching you really understand the transition. It's just like everything. You can't put a you're gonna eat your food in segments. You're gonna eat a piece of chicken, then put that down. Then you're gonna take a bite of bread. You don't try to just mush it together. Although it does end up together in your stomach, you don't digest it that way. That's the same thing with dancing. You want to make sure that if you do a pop style, that it's clean. Then you want to cut off and pause and go to a different style, and it's clean. Every step that you do is got to be clean for the onlooker. It's just like telling a story. In the movie, you don't go from the ending and then you end up with the beginning. You start out establishing what the character does. What's his good side? What's his bad side? He has to go down to a low point. He has to be coming up victorious at the end. You have to get emotional and get involved with the character. Dancing is the same situation. You have to educate at the same time you move. That's what's all involved in having a certain personal self-esteem about your dance style. Well, the dance competition thing was never one of my favorites, so I just say I always tolerated dance contests. It was a means to just pay the bills in the other days. I never focused on winning or losing, just being able to win each time to pay the bills. If I didn't, it was not a big deal. My future was always focused on using their skills to its highest level to entertain. So when I got in the competition thing, it was merely to entertain. If I won, it was cool. If I didn't, it wasn't a big deal, because I knew most of those people didn't understand most of the work that I put in to create those moves. Remember, this was the beginning of that. They didn't understand it themselves. Now, as far as one of my most performances, well, the Lockers in the summertime, we had our own concert tours, and we would hire our own musicians to play our music for us on the live stage. Well, one at a time, I used to carry the music and all the documents and stuff with me. I got to the airport very, very early, and I didn't remember what place we were supposed to go, because every week we will be in a different location. So I got on the wrong flight. I went and got on the wrong flight. Those are the days where you could just get your tickets at the last moment. So I went up and got my ticket, got on the wrong flight. Now, I remember, I have all the music and materials with me. So the other guys had got there later. And what I did, it was in a nearby city. So what I did was I hired a limousine driver, and he took me to the next location, to a couple of cities over. But what happened was the guys was doing this show, and it was at an outside concert in this big carnival. And it was a little hill on the side where the people was down the hill. I had my limousine driver drive up, and I had changed clothes inside the limousine. And then as soon as they was in the solo segment, my limousine driver, and he opened up the sunroof top, I had changed clothes. And I said, yo, and everybody turned their attention to me. And I jumped out the limousine and ran on stage, and I said, you guys don't want your show to begin at the end without me solo. And they went, yeah! And I said, yeah. So after that, everybody went crazy. I did a solo, and everybody said, and even the guys said, man, you're always coming up with something crazy. Hey, I wanted to make sure that I do my part.